Thank you so much. Okay. Hello, everyone.
Morning.
Good day. Good day to you all. It's a privilege and honor to be here. Thank you so much to Father George and Jane for your coordination to have ArmInArm here speaking to you all again. My name is Shariq Marshall. I am the Development and Community Engagement Coordinator with ArmInArm. Just a little bit about myself. This is totally not about me at all, but I've been with the organization for 6 years. I graduated from Rider University, and I did a lot of my community service during my college career. I was a Bonner Community Scholar, and so that is a community service scholarship program, and that I was in, and that's where I kind of started to build relationships with community organizations like ArmInArm. And sure enough, when graduation came, and I was a delivery driver at Insomnia Cookies. I remember being in the back sending out applications to community organizations, and ArmInArm was the one. And 6 years going now, and I'm still here. And so, it's been a great honor and privilege to be a part of this kind of work. I come from, the similar backgrounds as, the families and people that we serve who come to us for our work. I come from a mom who was a single mother. I had a younger sister, and it didn't hit me until I was older enough, in maturity to realize that she was doing exactly what some of the families that we help do. Um, you know, Take her kids, to church to get food. Some churches have food pantries, and I vividly remember people dropping off food to my mom. My mom going to these places and asking for help. Um, the way we got through school was through scholarship help and help through people who donated to us, honestly. And so I'm here because of the work that places like ArmInArm does. And it really hits home for me to have opportunities like this to tell my story and to humble myself every time that I do tell my story, because there are people out there even in worse situations, and we could even fathom. And I realized that through the work at ArmInArm, and also through my personal experience. And so just a quick little bit about me. um, and I really felt like it was in my purpose, to do kind of the work that I'm doing with ArmInArm. And when I found ArmInArm, I felt like it was a match made. Um, and ArmInArm's story begins in 1980. They were founded by two churches in Princeton, and it started out just with helping people with food, and it was in the Princeton area. Then it sort of expanded to the Trenton area, and they expanded to helping people with housing as well. And so there is a hunger prevention program, which is what the food program is around, and the housing stability program, which helps with homelessness prevention, and we also help with housing and utility help as well. And so since 1980, ArmInArm has been a vital part of the community, a pillar, a, a really a pillar, as you can say, because a lot of people rely on the work that ArmInArm does. We serve close to 48,000 families on a yearly basis. Yeah,
48,000?
yeah, 48,000. That's what we did last fiscal year. Our 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 budget went from a 2.4 million budget before the pandemic to now a 5.8 million budget, and that's because of the need. Honestly, a lot of the help that was given out during the pandemic has already been used up. And so we rely on help from our organizations and partners, and the work that we can do to really help make sure that we sustain that need that's out there. And so as far as housing stability is concerned, we help people with back rent, we help people with security deposits, we help folks with utility assistance. And we also, for 1 year, I believe the program just ended, and we are looking to see how we can get another program like this started. But we had a program with the Trenton Board of Education to pretty much give people emergency housing. And so these were folks who were in their storage, living in their cars. I'm thinking of a story right now of a single mom with 2 kids living in her car. And, Arm in Arm, through this program, through our outreach, we're able to help her. And the thing with things like that is, a lot of people don't know that only lasts for a week. So after that, the person needs to get housing or find some sort of program that can help them at least stay another week, because I believe the maximum is 2 weeks you can stay in a hotel as far as emergency housing, or motel. And so, we helped over 100 people in that program, through that outreach program, with homeless people. People like that single mom who, were living in their cars. And, the motels and hotels, they're on highways, so even just thinking about, what someone has to go through to try and get food or, find assistance in that type of environment is just not, ideal at all, So, Arm in Arm really does, great work around helping people really build up who they are as well. We really believe in giving people service, but also giving them some type of dignity as well. So during the pandemic, we've adapted to this new way of hybrid, and we've adapted to the new way of people doing remote work and things of that nature. So we actually help people on 7 days a week. We schedule meetings with people in the evenings. We schedule meetings with people on the weekends if they need to. And that's something that we sort of adapted to, because of the need and what's going on. And so we're also giving out food 6 days a week. We're serving 250 people on a daily basis, and that's only through one location. We have multiple locations. We have a location here in Princeton in partnership with the Nassau Presbyterian Church. And we also have a brick and mortar location in Trenton where, like I said, we see 250 people 2 days a week. And so we're seeing 1,300 people on a weekly basis come to us for food. And in addition to that, that's just people coming to us. We also have a small delivery system where we also deliver food to homebound people as well. And so, your Project Freedoms or, your senior resident homes, we have partnerships because those people aren't able to get to us. So we send out bulks of food to those people as well. And then we also have partnerships with local, churches and other organizations where we do mobile food pantries. So we have a food truck, and it's refrigerated, so we can put in our fresh produce, our frozen meats, and we pretty much partner with like I said, local church organization, and we hand out food at that location. And so right now, one of our biggest partnerships is with Capital Health in Trenton. Every Wednesday, we're at a different Capital Health site in Trenton, handing out food for 2.5 hours. And the patients are being screened for food insecurity, and then being given a voucher to get food at Arm in Arm. Now, the voucher is just to say that, I was at Capital Health. No, you don't need anything to get food with Arm in Arm. We ask for IDs just so that we can, record your name and the information that we need. However, as long as you're a Mercer County resident and you can show us some sort of way of that, you can get food from us. We give mostly non-perishables, but we also give an abundance of fresh produce. So Arm in Arm has really become big on providing nutritious food for the community. And so a lot of the reasons why people come back to us is because of the fresh produce that they get from us. And so we also give fresh frozen meats, and also we give eggs and bread. And so we estimated it towards the end of last year that what we give someone is valued at about $80 to $85 in the supermarket if they were to go there. And so that just speaks to, you know, the inflation and things that has gone on in recent years. As we see, it affects everyone, you know, and really affects those who are already in a certain situation, you know. And we also have a pillar of helping people with workforce development. And so the one way in which we do that is we have a license restoration program, and that program helps people restore their licenses. And these might be folks who are looking to get their CDLs, or they might just be in a commercial driving license, so they can drive big trucks and drive for those companies. Or they might just need transportation because they have kids that they need to get to the daycare before they get to themselves to work. And not having, you know, access to the vehicle, you know, really keeps them from doing that. And so we help about 30 to 40 individuals on a yearly basis in that regard as well. And, you know, I for half a year had direct, you know, contribution into that program. And it was really amazing to see how something as simple as some would think, as simple as someone having their license restored could really change a lot of what's going on in their life. And I just really want to reflect on some folks that have reached out to me directly, you know, because when people reached out to ArmInArm, you know, we have a line that they reach out to directly based on their needs and things like that. But sometimes people reach out to me directly because that's who they get. And so I have a couple of stories, and I already mentioned a few, but you know, someone reached out to me who just got threatened that they were going to be evicted, and they needed help within, you know, 24 hours. And this is at, you know, 3 p.m., you know, in the middle of our day. And you know, we have to think about how we can help this person in a matter of a day or two before their world turns upside down. And, you know, someone else reached out to me who was a former domestic violence victim. And, you know, they were able to house her, you know, the C Center was able to house her, but she needed a security deposit. And she was living in her storage unit and going to work from there. For the last 2 months. And, you know, not being a direct, you know, person in that program, I always do what I can do, you know, as far as making sure that that gets to who it needs to get to, you know, getting on the phone with that person if I need to, hear more of the story. But it's things like that, like I said, it just humbles me, you know, it humbles us and the work that we do. And it reminds us that, you know, of who we do it for. And, you know, someone reached out to me, said, my power just went off. And, you know, whether they had got a notice before that or anything, it doesn't matter. It's just the fact of, imagine if your power just went off.
Yeah, cut off?
And yeah, cut off. And yep, cut off, yes. And, you know, you have kids and things of that nature. And, you know, you reach out to us and, you know, we're there to help and do what we can. But these are, you know, the things that, you know, we see on a daily basis. You know, we serve a 55%, you know, Hispanic community, 45% Black community, and about 5% Creole, Haitian, you know, Asian culture community as well. And we see that a lot of people struggle with gaining trust from other organizations. And so when it comes to ArmInArm, that's one of the biggest things that we do is we let them know that they can trust us, you know, with the work that we do, with the information that they give us, and that their best interest is at heart. You know, because with the recent things that have been going on, you know, we've seen a lot of folks really, you know, kind of scared, you know, really scared, you know, about what their next day is going to look like. And, you know, they come to places like ArmInArm because we provide sort of a hub for things like that. You know, we realize it's not just food, it's not just housing, it's not just work. You know, it's a lot of other things as well. And so when you really build the relationships with these people and help them in multiple ways, you really become uh, that that community that they need right now, and so it's really great that Arm in Arm, does the work that we're able to do. It's the 45th year. This year is the 45th year of Arm in Arm, and we have some big goals. Sorry.
Do you have a relationship with the community food bank of New Jersey?
Yes, we do. And so they actually were big partners in our recent buying of a new van. Yes. They actually had their logo on the van, and they were big partners in getting us help with the new van. And we actually have a big partnership with the Mercer Street Friends Food Bank. They really distribute a lot of the food to the, pantries in Mercer County.
What about Meals on Wheels? Do you work with Meals on Wheels, or I don't know, how big is their program?
So they pretty much operate. No, we don't have a partnership with them, and I'll tell you why. And it's because in recent years, Arm in Arm, places like Meals on Wheels, Task in Trenton, the Community Foundation of Princeton, Trenton Health Team, and I'm kind of trying to think of them. Jewish Services for Children and Families. And I'm sorry if I'm butchering some of these, but they've all come together in most recent years and created sort of a coalition. And every month we get together and we talk about what's going on and what we're seeing in the community, so that we're not so much replicating the work, and we're hitting areas that actually need the work. And so if Meals on Wheels is at a location on a certain day or on a certain cycle, we want to make sure that Arm in Arm isn't there or Task isn't there as well. And so, we've been really diligent in coming together, like I said, on a monthly basis to make sure that, okay, we know who's getting the help, but we still know that there's people who aren't getting the help. So let's focus on who isn't getting the help, and let's focus our research to that. And so, like I said, Trenton Health Team's a big partner in, galvanizing all that research, and we do our best to, from that research, do what we can do with our resources to make sure that we can put a food truck out there. One of our recent partnerships is with the Mercer County Library out in Lawrenceville, and so there's a community that needs food there, and that was pretty amazing to see. It's only been a year of that partnership, and I remember the first day we saw like 40 people. We're serving 150 people now at that location on a weekly basis. And so it just goes to show that we're looking for the needs, and when we're out there, people can use us. So yeah, you can have a question.
What percentage of the food that you distribute, either the delivery van, and you also have a location where people come to get
Yes.
brick and mortar, what percentage of that food comes from donors like churches or individuals versus like grocery store? I assume, are you able to get like leftover food from grocery stores or restaurants?
So it's very specific, I'd say. Like Whole Foods, they'll send over some leftover things from the deli side of things, but it'll be really specific. Like McCaffrey's, they'll send over bread. But it wouldn't be like an abundance of different types of food. It's just really specific, and so those things do occur. I personally think that it should happen a bit more. I think it's a lot of food that gets wasted every day. It's too much. If you look at that number compared to the people that are hungry, it's a no-brainer to me. And but yes, and about 60% of our food comes from the food bank, and the other 40% comes from, well, I say the other 30% comes from private funding and donations from congregations and organizations, constitutions like yours. and 10% we do have a budget to purchase if we need to. And so we like to do that. Like I said, if we need to, we like to use that for emergencies, and also things like the holidays. We like to do things special where we do gift cards during the holidays, and so we'll sponsor a couple of families and do Christmas gifts. And so that's some of the where the purchase money that we have it gets allocated towards. Yes, but 60% from the food bank, 30% from donations, 10% that we have.
How many people work for ArmInArm?
Great question. So we're about a staff. I love to say we're small but mighty. There's many nonprofits out there, big, small, medium. We're about a group of 26 individuals. And one thing I love about ArmInArm, it's in our mission. We say we partner with our community to achieve stability, for our community members in food, housing, and workforce development in the areas that they need it. And partnering with our community speaks volumes to me in a way where 20% of ArmInArm's staff used to be program members for ArmInArm programs before. So when we say partnering with our community in those spaces, we're even looking to open up an opportunity for you to create some income for yourself and be employed and give back if that opportunity fits you, And so that was pretty amazing to me, when you look around, you can see that and you talk to people, but to know that that's the number, like, wow, 20% of people used to be recipients of some of the stuff that we
probably
gets.
need Spanish language.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And now we have a huge need for volunteers or even staff, who speak, Creole as well, because there's a rise in the Haitian community that needs our help as well that we've seen. Yeah. And volunteerism, how can I forget about that? That was my main job starting out. I now have a few other hats, but that's the backbone. We're literally outside giving out food right now 3 days a week, and without volunteers, it doesn't happen. And in times like this, I could think about a day this week where it's like, speaking to the coordinator on site of the mobile pantry, and I'm like, if I could just use 5 people, because of the weather, and it's totally understanding, but there's still a line of 30 people at the start of when we're handing out food, who are out there waiting to be served because they need it, and they're willing to stand out there no matter what because they need it. And so, volunteers are our backbone. We need about 60 volunteers, between 60 to 80 volunteers on a weekly basis. Yes, and between 300 to 350 volunteers on a monthly basis, to keep our operations going. There's times where, we risk having to close, an hour and a half early because of short hands, and we don't like to do that. Yeah.
How many churches do you work with?
I don't have an exact number, but we have a lot of churches that we work with in the Princeton area. Trinity Church, like I said, Nassau Presbyterian Church, Princeton United Methodist Church, and we have a lot of churches that we work with because it's embedded in who we are. We were founded by faith-based organizations in church, and we know that the work that we do and the work that you help us do is just an extension of God's hand. And so we really value these relationships. And it's really how we do what we do.
Practical. So, how far in advance do people need to sign up to volunteer, say, at the food truck or your other locations?
Yeah, so we have an online calendar. It's kind of a live calendar, and so as simple as you having a link to the calendar, and being able to see, where you'd like to volunteer, whether that be a location in Princeton, or one of our locations in Trenton, at a mobile pantry. And we also have a warehouse in Hamilton where most of the food is housed and prepared before it goes out to the distribution sites. And between those sites, you can see on the calendar, where you can, give your time.
So did you sign up, you actually sign up online?
Yes, you do sign up. Yes, you do sign up online. Um, However, if you need assistance, that's what I'm here for. I'm the volunteer coordinator. So we actually just launched a new platform with our volunteer operations. And so I'm very well already in the mode of helping people sign up and things like that. And so I do that as well for people. And, for groups, groups, they, come directly to me, if you like to volunteer as a group. And then we'll decide, what day you'd like to get on schedule for you. And a lot of groups, they tend to like to do like a cadence. And so we have certain churches right now doing like the third Wednesday of every month or the first Tuesday of every month. And so whatever day that kind of works for them. And it really helps us out in the long term, in times like this where people who already has started the cadence during a time right now where it's tough to get volunteers because of the winter time, it really helps that we had this partnership going, because they're already scheduled to come, so it really helps in that regard as well. But like I said, individually, we still need 60 to 80 volunteers on a weekly basis between all of our sites. And so reach out individually, or as a group or as a family. We also give opportunities for internships as well. I work directly with college students or students who are in that career development stage, we like to say, even to see if they can have opportunities with ArmInArm as well. And so, and if anyone has kids, or college kids, who need something to do during their time off, we'd love to help welcome them as well. Yeah.
So with, I can't remember what phrase you used, but you help people get their driver's license renewal.
Yes.
And part of that is toward finding employment.
Yes. Yep.
And I think you said you have you help train people for maybe online or doing hybrid work or working with computers, or did I understand that correctly?
Yes, we do help people with job readiness.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, we do help people with job readiness and training. And like I said, since this hybrid way of doing things, we've been helping people in that way as well.
Okay.
Yes.
So you train them online or through Zoom, you'll do like a training session with them or something.
Yes, yeah, we help people in that regard. And one thing that just popped into mind is that we also help people with financial literacy. And so the way that I like to think about it is it's not like putting a Band-Aid on it, but it's really getting to how can we help you, essentially not come to us again, right? That's our goal. Help people become sustainable for themselves and their families. So we wouldn't want you to come back every 2 years to us. We would want to know that our work, was really, impactful and helped you, be well off. And so, we do provide financial workshops. We have partnerships with banks who come in and, kind of a mixture of their curriculum or our curriculum. And we provide that for the community. And so, because like I said, it's one thing to just give someone the help, but it's another thing to educate them on how they can, help themselves kind of prevent that situation again. And, I really like that ArmInArm has taken, really like they really spearheaded that, the last few years. Yeah.
So kind of a follow-up.
Yeah.
What's your sense of the job market in Mercer County? So for folks who are training to find work, how successful are they in finding work? And do you feel like there are enough jobs out there? What that kind of connects to the root problem, right? It's like if there are jobs that pay enough that can pay the bills and start saving and whatnot. What's your sense of that?
So I feel like the consensus is that there are jobs out there, but I believe that a lot of people don't know how they have to approach these jobs essentially. And so I think that a lot of people, they don't have access to places like ArmInArm or resources where they essentially know how to get those jobs. And I feel like you know um, there's that's a big component of it. I feel like because the job market is really competitive these days. I feel like we're dealing with uh, a society that loves to do their own thing, right? A very entrepreneurial, I'd say, society. And so to get a job, you have to be on your game, And so one of the, like I said, that's why ArmInArm, we help people in that regard. We partner with Dress for Success to make sure that they can dress like this when they go to an interview, to put themselves the best foot forward to get those jobs that are out there. Because I feel like if you speak to, depending on who you're speaking to, they'll say there's a lot of jobs out there, and they'll say there's no jobs out there. But I feel like where we stand is, let's help you get the jobs that are out there, because that's the goal. And so how do we do that? We look at, well, how are you presenting yourself? How's your resume? Or what can we come up with? If that isn't, if that isn't done, and things like that. We have partnerships with corporations who, sometimes they like to come in and help out with some of this job readiness stuff like that. And so J&J is one of our big partners, BlackRock as well. And so, they'll like to come in and help out with some of that stuff as well. And so it's really equipping, our community in a way that, like I said, with all these other things, is that we want you to be stable. We want you to be very well, well-off citizens, in your communities. And so, I feel like that's, and I think that got a little more opinionated, than anything. But that's how I feel like.
You must have thought about this in a deep way. I mean, as a large problem. What is it? Do you think you're making a serious impact on the problem in your community?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So an organization can do that. I have the awful feeling, and I've been getting it for many years, that the job market is changing very dramatically, and that many of our young people, including high school graduates, but certainly dropouts and so on, I'm going to put this very crudely, but I think it's true, simply don't have any skills that people are going to pay them for. So, I mean, the imperative, you see somebody hungry, I obviously give them some food if you can. But how do you think we can, as a society, it is obscene to hear your stories in a way in this rich country. You see all these stories about the houses in California that are burning down and it cost $4 million and things like this. It almost makes you sick to your stomach to see the huge differential in material stability in the country.
So I like to answer that with the fact that I think a lot of the change starts with what you're doing, and like I said, I feel like ArmInArm, to comment on your what you said about the high school, the dropouts and things of that nature. um, ArmInArm works closely with organizations that helps these communities of folks
Yeah.
in the GED programs, and we provide opportunities for them to come and work with us. And so that actually falls on my lap actually. So literally right now, next week we have 2 interns starting. One of them was in the GED program through OWLS Youth Institute, and the partnership is well, you're going to pay her, but we're going to help her develop. And so we're gonna provide her, with that, that job, kind of feel, and for 12 weeks she's gonna, be developed. And to your point, this is how, like I said, I think the saying, all change, you want to start look at yourself first. And so like I said, I think like directly, this is what I think ArmInArm is doing to help that community, and of high schoolers who might not have the skills or think they have the skills, or I think the numbers of folks who just don't know what they want to do has went up also, even since my time of being in school, and I think it's the idea of you could do anything, the way technology is and things like that, it's a blessing, and also the opposite of that, to a degree, because yes.
Just to dovetail on that, I mean, the job market with technology is changing so rapidly. I had 2 questions. First, how much have you plugged into these sort of offsite coding schools? And also, I don't know if this is a question, but it just seems like we went through a generation where if you own a home, you get return on it. But now if you own a home, because of the property taxes, upkeep, and price, you're just minimizing what you would lose. Sometimes renting is easier. So it's just to throw that question in that statement.
So as far as I answer the second one, because I personally know how that is right now, being in that situation myself, and so that is what we're seeing. You're completely right, and also, something we're also seeing is that people are still owing, back rents, from pandemic times. People are still coming to us with $3,000, $4,000 in back rent, and so for some folks, the thought of owning a home isn't even there, and I think our experts, when they come in and they do financial literacy, they did do a segment on home ownership, because to a certain point, it looked like, hey, if I'm paying this, I might as well, get my first house, but like you mentioned, with all that stuff, that's just not the case. And so it's just put people in a more tough position, to seek ownership, for themselves and for their family. I think when you think about sustainability, it's just having some sense of ownership for what you have, and I feel like these days you wake up and it can be you, just rip it right under your feet, and I feel like I said certain instances, where people reached out to me, that's literally the case, so.
Cars are expensive too.
Hmm?
Cars are expensive too.
Yeah, I mean, everything is going up. And I know you had something before that. What was the first one about?
It was just, we moved here from Maplewood, Millburn area, and there's like off-site coding. It's because that's becoming so huge. That's the new job market.
What is off-site coding?
Coding, like you're coding software.
Oh,
and
okay.
computers. So I was curious if you've had any connections to partnerships with some of those schools.
No, not directly. I've been out in the community and I've come across a few nonprofits. What I would like to say is a lot of nonprofits are starting that are teaching that coding and giving that education to youth. Yeah. So like, I'll go to community events and I've come across some newer nonprofits, some startups who have, started to see that need for coding and, are giving that education. Yeah.
My experience has been that so often the money of the wealthy is given away to help the poor, but it's given in such a way that it never helps the poor. It helps those who are already established. And I'm not quite sure how you break that, but I really think that's what happens over and over again. You say BlackRock, okay? BlackRock makes billions of dollars, right? And yet they give a lot away. The way they give it is in such a way that it comes back and it feeds BlackRock instead of feeding the poor. And I'm wondering how we break that.
Right. Well, I can speak for ArmInArm's sake. They're great. We know that everything that we get goes to the community. I can say that. And so that I don't know.
Could you be comfortable in a conversation with BlackRock on that question?
I'm not sure. That's above me. That would be Miss. Yeah, that would be Mr. David Fox. Mr. Our executive director there. But I think what I like to say is that I think I felt that way a little bit until I got to know some of the people involved. The thing is, you know how these things work. There's always a point person, and and things of that nature. And when you're getting these resources and things from them, you have the conversations with them. You really get to know them, and a couple of them are even on our board. Some of them are from Trenton, and so I think it all just comes down to who we're talking to, and as long as their vision, aligns with ArmInArm and what we see for our community, then we feel good about it. And so, like I said, our J&J connection, he lived on the same street that we're handing out food. And his way of giving back has been on our board and being a really pivotal part of our board as well. And so, I think there's this, the saying is there's always some bad apples, but I think, like I said, just speaking from my experience, with these kind of corporations, I think that we're dealing with some people who genuinely care. And like I said, anything, any amount of donations, money, you name it, ArmInArm puts it back into the community, and that's what I can say.
Sounds like you're saying there are no strings attached. The donations that you receive, there are no strings attached. ArmInArm has control.
Yes, ArmInArm does have control. Now, if you say, definitely want to be transparent. If they say we want to give this towards the housing program, they can do that. If somebody, like it's similar, if All Saints say, hey, we'd like to donate strictly to hunger prevention, we would make sure of that. Let this go towards the fresh produce so that you can have more fresh produce in this next year. We will make sure it goes to fresh produce, So, things like that, that happens. But, but yeah, that's how it happens. Yeah.
So I was going to ask, what we can talk about people learning how to do coding, but what is the general educational level of people coming to you? I used to work in a type area for a nonprofit that was managed with social literacy programs, and where people were getting GED training and ESL training. And this is paid for by the Department of Labor, who are putting money. So it's a real
Mm-hmm.
qualification
Yeah.
at the end of it, but I mean, it depends where you're starting.
Yeah.
I was teaching people with no literacy at one point.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming that you need a partnership with the Princeton Community College with their programs.
Yes.
I think
Yes, we do.
other people, I know that task has people who do tutoring.
Yep.
I know that everybody tries to do their bit.
Mm-hmm.
Mercer Street Friends as well.
Yes. IOS is also one of them. IOS has a couple programs, and so I've seen that the youth have been very, very promising, honestly. Like I said, I kind of take on the mentor, aspect in a way, when we have interns and high schoolers that come to us, and they've been very promising, honestly. I feel like the generation now, they want to be heard, in such a creative society, right? They want to make sure that ideas are just out there, they want to make sure they're heard, and they have things that they care about. And one thing I will say about that is, a lot of them care about the community that they live in, and Arm in Arm really looks to help them, because of that, because they're part of our community as well. And so, yeah, like I said, I think our recent high schoolers or young adults, after those GED programs that have come through us, they've been well.
We're at time, but you may have answered my last question. I was going to ask one last question, and it sounds like an answer, but you can develop it if you want. What gives you hope that in 20 years, Trenton will be in a better situation, in a better place?
Arm in Arm. I think, like, just to top off again, that's our 45th year. We're looking to serve 50,000 families this upcoming year. $1.5 million in direct aid, is what we're looking to do. And so, however we can do that, we're looking to do that, sustain that, and do more than that, And as far as, I see a vision where Arm in Arm expands. Where Arm in Arm expands, outside of just Mercer County jurisdiction. And so, that's what
You
I see.
obviously have a wonderful organization doing wonderful work, but the issues raised
Yeah.
are fundamental to the moral and every other kind of health of this country. That's pretty discouraging, actually.
It is.
So
We gotta be.
Desmond Tutu, I think it was, said, the problem is huge, but what's important is the little bit that you do.
Yes, we give. Yes, like you said.
Count your successes, because otherwise it's kind of daunting, such an overwhelming with all the challenges. So you got to be focus on, like you say, focus on your successes and take comfort from that.
Yeah, like I said, every day you see people lined up. We have the food to give them.
Right.
It's a deposit into to the box. And that's what we can say we did on a weekly basis. And I feel like it's just a privilege to be a part of. And I love it. So thank you all. Thank you all.